I only say that because, there are companies out there that specifically build light end wheels, for 180 pounds or less. And, like I said, we feel like if you build a wheel that's built properly, then, you shouldn't have to encounter those problems out there. So, yeah. You don't want these things, do you? No. Maybe you should. Maybe I should put some Haven carbon mountain bike wheels in the road bike. Maybe 2 years.
It's all right, the children are already 5 months old.
Nice. See there? Is that a record?
That's pretty close.
Yeah. We're going to, weight limits kind of leads into these, but, if you all have any questions about anything, so it's hard to remember which hat I have on. So I do Easton Bell Sports, Speedplay, GoPro,
You're like my favorite person. I use all the stuff.
Zoo Triathlon. I know I'm missing somebody. Yeah, Greatest Time Tires. I'm missing somebody. I can't even think. Anyways, Speedplay pedals. We talked about weight limits. That leads me to these guys. And who writes Speedplay pedals in here? Yeah, just a couple of you guys. Yeah. All right. Just real quick, on the Speedplay, if you haven't tried it before, there's some really cool advantages of these pedals versus anything else out there. For one, obviously you can see the size of these things. It's not a traditional road pedal in the sense that it's one-sided. So dual-sided on these guys, which is awesome. So you almost have a self-guided entry once that cleat hits that pedal interface and it just clicks right in. Having a dual-sided, really small minimal pedal leads to a couple of things. One is really low cornering clearance. We're about 5 to 6 millimeters shorter in stat on the bottom than any other pedal out there, so you can go into those corners harder on these things. We have more engagement based on the size of our platform on that actual pedal. And I think this year, over 50% of the peloton is using these things, so 50% can't be wrong, right? We have a lot of pro riders riding these for those reasons right there. You also have adjustable float on these things, which is the most in the industry. We have up to 28 degrees of float on our X series of pedals and 15 degrees on our basically zeros out there, which is really nice. Especially,
can you make it where there's almost...
You can walk them down to zeros. That's why they call them zeros, because you can go from 0 to 15 degrees of float on it, which is really nice. Yeah, did you have a question? No, okay. Yeah, so you have that on there. As far as weight on these pedals, it's unheard of to find, pedals that weigh 100 grams a piece, which is almost the lightest, well, it is the lightest in the industry. And we make lighter pedals than that, but, we make these pedals with different spindles. You can get them in a chromoly, in a stainless, or in a titanium version. And that Thai version does have a weight limit on it of 180 pounds, but it's a misconception. The way these pedals are built, we use a needle bearing cartridge on the inside and then 2 cartridge on the outside. The only problem we find with the weight limit on those Thai ones is that because Thai is a little bit flexier, if you ride a 200-pound rider on my Thai spindles, you can ride them. That Thai spindle is not going to snap on half on you. It's not why we put a weight limit on it. It's because of the bearings inside of there. You're probably going to stress the bearings out faster than they should be. So you'll probably be replacing those bearings, quicker than they should be replaced. So that's all there is to a weight limit on these things. But those are some of the advantages of these pedals, which is really nice. If you've never ridden them before, it just gives a really different feel. We talked about stack height before. That contact to the pedal interface. These have the lowest in the industry as well. It's only 8 millimeters versus 13 for a comparable Shimano or Look pedal out there. So again, that cleat is directly on top of that pedal. And if y'all have seen the way our shoes work, this is our cleat right here. And this cleat, basically, once it's on the bottom of that shoe, our mechanical engagement is actually in the cleat, not on the pedal, because y'all have seen the pedal that has the springs on it and all that stuff. So we don't even use that on these. It's all in here. This little black guy, this little retention spring, is basically the spring. So when it engages, it's metal on metal. If you're off the bike walking around on these things, you're never going to wear out my cleat because you're not walking on the actual engagement portion of it. You're actually clipping into the inside ring here, so it's metal on metal on these guys. So you have incredibly low stack height versus any other pedal platform that's out there right now, and it'll fit any standard 3-hole or 4-hole shoe out there that they're making. So just pretty cool stuff, and the combination of these two, weight-wise, is just ridiculously small. So it's just a different.
Is Giro going to go to the 4-hole?
They're thinking about it. There's about 5 manufacturers right now that's doing it. So yeah, Giro does have a prototype shoe I've seen at a sales meeting this past year. And they are debating going to a 4-hole on it. It's just such a niche market to dedicate an entire, SKU to that one line. But there are a lot of people doing it now, so But if you ride Speedplay already, they're one of the most adjustable pedals out there. It's the only pedal you can adjust on all 3 axes, so forward, backward, side to side. You can't do that with any other pedal system out there. If you've got just some really janky anatomical proportions and you need like one long spindle and one short one, hey, we can do that too, you know? So these guys will do anything that's out there. They're completely rebuildable. You know, we'll have pretty much any adapter you would need to fit in the shoe. Yep.
I've seen several people pull out of those pedals on track starts, like in kilo starts and 500-meter starts. So I've seen several people pull out of those.
I don't know how either, because I was about to say to engage these pedals,
They may not have been all the way in.
they probably went all the way in, or it could be that they weren't even using, was this like on a track-specific bike?
Yeah,
They make track-specific pedals for that too, though. Yeah, if they weren't running those run a higher spring engagement to them, so it could have been that. But that's why we've had to make a light action in these, is because they are harder to get into initially, because there is a break-in for these little guys. Typically, if I'm selling these on the floor, I'll actually put the shoe on the bike about 5 or 6 times before that customer even steps foot in my pedals, just to get this spring engaged and kind of get the thing working. Because all it is a mechanical C-clip, and that's all it is. But the more it gets used, the looser it gets. So
20 or 30 times a serve.
yeah, and you're perfect on it. So, but I mean, I've been running even before I worked for them, and I've never had a disengagement on them. So yeah.
He said they're just better for the crisp because once they take on, they're quicker to get into.
Yeah, they're so much easier to get into, and I mean, the retention is pretty strong based on the amount of actual cleat you have engaging it. So yeah, I don't know. That's hard. But yeah, short of that though, I mean, that's more or less it. Yeah, but
Is Speedplay gonna start making a power pedal? A power
yes,
measurement?
they are. It's going to be within the internal body itself, and they'll probably be out maybe late summer, mid to late summer right now. That's a kind of a weird story. So yeah.
Explain it.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up.
What kind of price range are they gonna be running?
Astronomical. No, I don't know yet. They haven't told us anything on it. The owners of Speedplay are pretty secretive. It's like launching missions to Mars. They don't tell us anything, man. The scissor mountain bike pedal we've been waiting for. Have y'all seen that? That's finally out. They've been talking about it for like 3 or 4 years, and it's finally coming out this year. But it's this guy right here. So this one's already out right now, and it's just a different pedal system in that. You know, when you look at this guy, it doesn't look like much different, but it uses the same technology we use on our road ones. So there's actual float built into that cleat. You can adjust the cleat 10 degrees either way, which is kind of nice, or you can lock it down. But the way that it engages on that cleat itself, most pedals, when you step on a mountain bike cleat, you know, the side of the actual pedal, you know, your shoes have the 2 lugs, right, that are kind of like pontoons on a boat. And those will kind of interface with the pedal to keep it from rocking side to side, because you have a little bit of play on a pedal side to side. When you lock into the scissor pedal, man, you are done. Like, there is no rock on it at all. So if you're a pretty aggressive rider and you like to do like wheel lifts and kick your wheel out to the side or jump up, you know, stuff like that, endos and all that, then yeah, they're pretty nice. They're pretty stout, pretty direct engagement on it. Incredibly lightweight. You know, they shed mud really well. So it's a pretty unique little pedal system if you haven't seen it yet. But they just came out last month, so there's some catalogs if you want to look at them. All right. But short of that, though, what kind of bikes y'all riding?